a sin imolf balig waschuig. Heb je 3 Rangers in Newson ar game beof yn SWPL Rangers. Ik heb uit met de heerlijkheid. Agus jetsen, ik heb faatje fesker in u. Spartans om de Premier League na maand. Kretchen nach kretchach van Labriaan. Gaan is snach getuchtjem riesje zo gaan druut. Daar heb ze mij gerust namischer in de richtjach ze achter de rapsan. Kemi joge man in nu ham nog eens kun je koderum. Ham tolliger in nu ries zat van Noors. Na Pauline niet going koderin. Pauline, long time no see, but welcome back to BBC Alpa for what should be a really good game today. Rangers, knowing that Glasgow City have done the business earlier on today, looking to go back to the top of the table, but Spartans looking to put pressure on the teams around them in mid-table as well. Two teams going well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Rangers will approach the game very similar to last week and be really relentless and very much play on the front foot and, like you say, try and maintain that top spot at the table. I think from a Spartans perspective, probably that result last week was a long time coming, and I think they'll take great positivity and confidence from that to bring to today's game.
There was a warm sunny day here shortly, a wee while ago, but now it's snowing again. That won't really matter for the players. They've got to be used to it by now.
Yeah, they absolutely will. I think we've seen that last week. It was Celtic versus Glasgow City, faced the same sort of issues. But yeah, this is the reality of playing football in Scotland.
Pauline, tapel at it. Bishop the Breen with Pauline Nerige. I miss you. Mara in you. If Breen being the manager and Gachtuv Debbie McCulloch Spartans. I guess Malky Thompson at Rangers. Malky, an excellent win last week. You'll be hoping to keep that momentum up against Spartans today.
Yeah, we're hopeful we can put the same performance level in as we did last week. So we've had a good week's preparation as we always do, and I think we're as prepared as well as we can be.
You'll be mindful as well of Spartans' good performance last week and perhaps surprising a few folk this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think most of the teams, most of the teams in the league are organised. They've got some good coaching staff behind them, none more so than the Spartans guys that's here. So they'll be organised. They'll have belief in themselves coming into this game as well. So it's then up to us to find the solutions to try and overcome that.
It's sort of a testing time for everybody. You've had quite a few injuries to deal with at the moment. Is it sort of testing your squad strength and depth?
I think it was always evident that coming in full time was going to be quite arduous on some of the players. It is quite a big jump from going part time to full time training. Albeit we've had the break with COVID. But however, the girls have still got that kind of relentless training, whether they're training at home themselves, and that responsibility they had to have in order to come back in such a fit state as they are just now. But yeah, that's why we've got the squad that we have, and we'll utilise that. Glasgow
City kicking off early today, putting in a good performance, putting a little bit of pressure on your shoulders pre-match.
I think we'll just take care of each game. I think obviously I've not watched the game at all, but by all accounts I think up until half time they were quite resilient in what they were doing, and they've obviously lost their way in the second half. So yeah, we'll just focus on game by game and none more so than the Spartans game today.
Debbie, excellent win last week, and you'll be hoping to take that sort of good form forward.
Yeah, we want to carry on the momentum, clean sheet, 2 well-worked goals, so we'll go into this game feeling confident this afternoon.
4th place your target, or maybe even sniffing at 3rd, trying to put a bit of pressure on Celtic?
We'll just take it one game at a time right now, but certainly 4th place is a minimum target for us.
Kind of different challenge today against a Rangers team that have been going so well, scoring so many goals.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to focus on ourselves, but we've also got to disrupt Rangers' flow today and not allow them to control the game. So we focused on that in training, in the last week and probably in preparation for the Hibs game as well. So the last few weeks we've really kind of focused on our attacking style of play, but also what we need to do defensively.
Pretty ruthless last week, putting pressure on Hibs at the back and taking advantage of their mistakes. More of the same today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, at least.
Fingers crossed, yeah. We're hoping for a good positive result, and one thing's for sure, we'll turn up today and we'll give Rangers a battle.
Debbie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Grie de George Grie, she frassen geleore vian na bereiche. Agus en daar skip ik Chinemach in is de vark. Agus bisschen nog eens gewellat ligelik agus ulig aan de sound. Agus Rangers er een dorstemachlische skipperachke in u. Brianne Westrup sa Marty, dachrach, inachrach, gymlisgal is a skipping ag Malky Thompson y cynymach fan ygyn yr ein chwys i'r Hearts yn iacyn sy'n chais yn Chantel Swabi, clwydd ar ydyn asyn dy Yamika chyn y siach yn atje Carly Girasoli y hosich y mwy Hearts yn iacyn sy'n chai Howard, Nes, Brownlee, Arnott, Riley Kerr, Ulig na'n gwlnostig y mwy sa cwnnwys an cwjog fy mae gloch yn strochorti. Agus un dachrach ag Spartans cwjog. Cali Gibb tŵchwch yn y fengi, Simone McMahon ymach, Masons McCafferty y chynnistiach. Hysio sy'n maran y clwyd ar y fengi gan da sgybu. Gymadnys ffat y faragiolas yr bengi Rangers sy'n ceintiach. Mae'n ysd a hach ar yn ysd ar wrym yr diwg yn eich. Colin White ar réitir thuirste minutes de háchar go ceann agus skipper in dahuh go bhí sin ar gus bó na hatal agus tóistí hachrisig toisio chéim sin siú leis ar réitir Colin White a bhain daich bó Ian Hart, Elliot Husband Poughton agus Ryan Kennedy mar cherif officer Alana Marshall is skipper ag Spartans agus ise i cymal taicri sy'n chwyd ar yno i gynnw a sy'n un nŵl Kishnig akin mi mar a Spartans nŵl gol y machar y ffair gynnw Spartans len y ffachgil mi irig eichtara agos at nochus Gynnar eif clwch i chas chamainw sy'n chwyd yn ei hybs yn hacyn sy'n chai hybs i'r ffwl yn cybacan Mail ys yn siachyn y chai siachad Spartans gwael laf yn nwag ar orau Zoe Nes 4 goed mag een Rangers en jacket zich hij uittollig bij Saas aan nummer toch roet a hacher is game. Je kunt er als koning in is. Agus mistoortje get. Zes get. Koning aan de doen. Spartans successive. Rangers sgwal na glwnig sa dwlig. Ydyn nhw'n baink. Ys yn carst y socialta. Just with the stasio from the hand. Spartans y fisgar cwrgydol ma ha. George Schnecht de bereiche, sy grien de bereiche la bulach. Agus in is chashin. Is grien George. En Marshall fein suur tra. Gehaal gedaan, agus Sam Kerr fein kurmer val de Rangers. Brownlee rash go Jenna 5. Hier de Hoe kunt mag Rangers? En je waren onder de bus, ja, je toosje voor gloeig. Spartans het onder Ashko, Rachel Harrison onder de bus, Jason. Zo ineens vinden ze wel de Reginske gelegen Ashko Rangers. Christian Riley, Chili go. Skipper Elanu, Brianna Westrup, en dan go Chantel Swabi. Chwyd game eich gysig y Rangers chi chwychia Jamaica ag Hamden ys game fawr y fashion yr hosioch yr cwpyn y crynig dy ceinig Fegin acw, efo la, yr ffiws, sydd la sy'n, chan i fain gachod cwndra un i'r dwi bys i alapa. Gwyd rhwm y golchyn, y dolar ash. Gwyd jenna 5. Swabi, yn y laif chli yn olch yn y laif iesh, Rachel McLaughlin. Brownlee ar hosioch ar y, Kirsty Howard yn y dyfysteichi. Sy'n bal yr i amach. Ag y sy'n mis epic yn triple sy'n technic. Och, gyda'r ringin ffach gael ein i'r Pauline i hwynt. Pauline, Rangers taking control in the early stages, but Spartans well organised, certainly defending well against them.
Yeah, definitely. I think Spartans will know that probably Rangers will dominate the possession of the ball today, and it'll be about picking the right moments and identifying the triggers where they can try and counter-attack and get in behind with the pace of Galbraith.
Arnett, no good care. Issue pattern the game has issue. Spartans did a new look and had Debbie McCulloch said the coaching in the recover gemak onder who make is with Gianach maar hoe je van game could ook maar we zat de kopper kan in de park ja het zich hij wat de could in bier hips holters van bal lag getoins gret van goedjum kleurs kan je haak in de middag kan overig is natuurlijk een voor pensioen. Rash. Go Westrup. Onder is Rachel McLaughlin, hier een groter val af. Goeie push-up. Pauline, you watched Rangers against Hearts last week. From the little I saw of the game, one of the features seemed to be that it was essentially two at the back for Rangers most of the time, with McLaughlin and Doherty pushing so far up on both flanks.
Yeah, very much so. Rangers definitely dominated the possession, and the movement from midfielders trying to kind of go beyond the forwards is something that we've seen regularly, as well as kind of rotation in the wide areas, and I would expect something similar today.
Sat de Schach, in de lijn glie. Spartans. Zie de Cleland, de vouwer. Dat kloeg je dat ik Rangers hierheen. Gaat de Schach Gijvsen. Marshall. Zo in vijf Kaskli. Rashko. Dion McMahon. De pure Magas skipping nu. Hoshi in Jakken se Gai. Simone, de rakele Magas skipping. Rangers like kronklu hitter in kutter macher in Gorstig in raast. We gaan er neer in die toer heb ik stoger wie doel toch hier in die toer ik heb eens een keer met kutter mag achterkes en dan heb ik een play-off in raast naar Oekraïne. Als een fan kunnen vast pushen jaar toch. Volgende het keer heb ik hier het game. Gaan de er neer naar achter in Gorstig hier voor in de raast. Bal Devi. Dus je strooien in jakken ze ga je kan het even net in de vaarke van. Is je rakelen mag goed ook. Zo in eerste keer een benoeming Spartans goal is en dat is had de Schach goal had. Dus als er game gaan laat, Howard, Lechenaar, Garoa Nakus, de Gondoska, Rachel Harrison. It's noticing there, Pauline, Zoe Ness complaining already about the length of time it takes to take a throw, and Rangers clearly want to keep the tempo of the game up very high.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was something that we seen last week as well in the game. You know, they just really relentless and want that intensity across the 90 minutes where they can actually instigate it.
Marshall, de Chiligers aan fijn genezen terug naar Horschacher, Brownlee, gaan eigen daar de bal katages, which we call lekker lish. Nog mag. Swabi, Fouimpi, should impress Spartans. Spot on the ball, who is as a leg Rangers, had to fiach Fouimpi horen, Gamalore, of het seizoen uit. Some keren er wel toe in de en Swabi. Schachatorische zoals gemeen park voor Arnett er Chili heen, ze fiach in. Doherty de Schachazin, ach van bal de Roate. Pauline, Rangers doing well. They're playing from the back, despite the Spartans press even. They're managing to play through them a wee bit there, but it's hard to get the ball then to the feet because there's a bit of a brisk wind coming down the pitch.
Yeah, on kind of 3 or 4 occasions now, that kind of ball from centre-back to either full-back or wide player has just kind of overran out the pitch. So just need to get maybe a little bit of feel for the surface. As we said earlier on, there was a little bit of snow and rain, so obviously the pitch is moving a little bit quicker than maybe be expected.
Aaron Marshall, féin gan bhall hoiseach an McLaughlin a chael o'r Rangers is in Iris or son. Gwyd yn sgiplwch, Brownlee. Vertrouwen is doorge gezet. Zijn ik van de kaas is dan. Hier staat de Czech Spartans er alleen geliacht is. Thompson Sturie gave. Riley. Rash could you 5 foot big courage in van Louise Mason Cabaldo. Ik could je maar. Pauline, the Spartans' press was something that was very profitable for them against Hibs last week, forcing the mistakes that led to the goals. And they are trying something similar again today. Anytime Rangers have the ball deep, they're up on top of them very quickly.
Yeah, I think in that situation, Louise Mason kind of reads the trigger well and does well to press as effectively as she does. And I think that very much the game plan will be very similar to that of last week, and something very much that Rangers probably didn't have to deal with last week, so it'll be interesting to see how both centre-backs deal with that today.
Something Damien McCulloch said pre-match, that they've been working on their play in the attacking third, in possession and out of possession, you suspect, because they do look as if they're all working very closely together.
No, they do. They look like, you know, they have a real understanding of the match or the game plan they want to execute. And I think as well, you know, they've got a lot of experience in that front line in terms of setting the press and identifying the triggers, and they've also got a lot of pace, so it'll be really interesting to see how that pans out for them today.
Die eerste bal, die nog Roatter, Horschacher, Rachel McLaughlin is in. Brianna Westrup. Die nog ruim is het. Damien McCulloch, Borrelach is gewoon skipping is in SWPL. SWPL heen, voelt maar halen. En hier kun je ook gaan stogen. Ach. Gaan natuurlijk een goedje jaar. Kijk dat ik Borrelach is gewoon skippen feet stogen. Goed nog eens in je. Ik kan kussen riech. Maar dat is ook. When you cleave aan, dan zie je klel in terug van de val. Hij kan je geen. Hikkie, groeien de bekken druppeltjes in. When you kill de koude een riest. Kijk, mag ik corner of eens. Because die houdt steeg als ze focus. De doel is er wel in de stag. Chegloos, a Glasgow City. Ik torsig niet Leone, Segel. Volgen in Spanje. It's in Champions League, Conroes now Wolfsburg. The Rangers en nog eens even in Champions League er is. Natuurlijk er al weinig geworden. Even hoe de val in de stag. Swabi, Arashko Arnott. Er is dat toch. Die haast toch. Zo in Nes, maar ik jullie. Gaan jullie eigenlijk een lichtschule maken. Cornerele naar Rangers. Er kleer gil in de park. Huchtja. Gilles Arnott is in. Oor vuurkisjach. Geronner pikker in Harakajal. Jo, waar staat Mr. Annika? Schach tuilje in deze inge. Lizzie Arnott. Brownlee en Olders aan de goal. Vermunity Glees, zo wat duur om krastai. Nesten Old, verjaandig Swabi, Harris, Redarsen. Agus Rangers, it's in fast, gehaast, Guntul. Really dangerous corner. This one, Pauline coming in, and I'm not quite sure how it didn't end up at the back of the net.
No, I know, a great delivery by Emma Brownlee there, and I think that she's used the winter advantage there. And like you say, I'm struggling to understand how that didn't go in, but a warning sign for Spartans early on.
Did it actually clip the bar? I think almost, because it was going in and then suddenly it wasn't. So I'm not sure if it just clipped the bar slightly, but certainly Rachel Harrison was in dire straits trying to deal with that one.
Yeah, it did look like that.
Say rip. The Rangers. There go on Mahale. Rachel McLaughlin. So Ines. It's in Doin. Pupprige goeie vat en huwels is bal. Wordt al wel was in de jaar. Kussen de jaar toch levik goeie irlaar. En ik jaar farishins gevengneki door die hikke ach. Rapportingen go een kassen wij. Doe je een schindle. Van de Douglas van hier zal een yes. Kat smart. Dus een beetje brennig lehunie. Ze wordt al in jachten segai en de Hibs. Hier tol ik tegen Spartans. Dus ik los het. Was Celtic. En als je zijn naver in de rie. Season er wie gobricht. En een paar niet, maar het hagert dan de liga niet afkracht nummer 5 kutjok. Belachelijk, Gary skill marshalishin. Pas verhoudt. Kierig roetpak waterval over. En dat ruimt niet. Oeh, als het kost. Jarrichischen is sport. Robin McCafferty. En jullie is een willy aan de vierde keer zo'n je wijn dat je kaleraken als een schaven. Je ziet het een neuval. Je server op houden door voel wester op gelaatje eentje. Je een pech gereed. Je get de hoer wester op de bal kutjok. Ze hebben elkaar is een koetje geen echt gekomen ter. Goeie draken nog eens kemie kerstgeljaar. Rebecca Galbraith, ik look at the Spartans, en een beentje zijn kunnen rekenen. Westrap, ga je fijne mallig. Bij aan de zege terug, een beetje nog eentje keer wil ik look at the Kerskiljaar. Well, in the free kick is going Spartans away. In a way, there's not much in it there, but it's a 50-50 challenge. But you never like to see a player down, sort of gasping for air in that way.
No, you definitely don't. I think it was a little bit reckless by Westrop there, and it's maybe just, you know, the early phases of the game and the over-eagerness to win these individual battles. But it looks like Robin McCafferty is fit to continue, which is great to see.
Michaela McAlooney, Gahukal. Rørt. Rangers met Jerike is gemaakt uit Chantal Swaby. Hurik Jaunders, waar Taikan Jiesje voor Riley. Dochertien is puchtig zoals een live geliefd. Arnett. Jacques Nees. Mitchell McLaughlin en Rørt is van je nu actie Juntie van was. Lei Sarah Cleland, ja Spartans fan. The cast is Jack Irishin. And to this point in time, Pauline, Spartans doing quite well to limit the involvement of Rangers fullbacks. Partly because the passes haven't got the feet, but also they've been cutting them off at source a wee bit.
Yeah, I think the defensive organisation looks good. It's compact, and as I said, they've got a good understanding in terms of the way they want to play and how they can break up the fluency and Rangers play today. I think just one thing that I think they really need to be aware in that midfield area is that they don't allow Zoe Ness too much time on the ball, given her creativity and range of passing.
Laughlin, Nolko, Swaby. Zoe Ness, ik ga Juri voor een putje dat nummer Gerkelje gaat er een live gelijke taas. Sam Kerr, er een lekker. Ha, wat doen we hem er fin aslis in Spartans, zeg. La Kerr, er een lekker. Robin McCafferty. Agus be Paul on the sea of Kerkondershire just though. Good McCafferty rotiken er shin get the colleague in Spartans if you can reaching in the way to the Croatian car. Back over the side of the year leash. Westrap agus Swaby Suez van de goal. Oh, Vashin Kofask. Tol. Vroeg Spartan heen. Ach. Gaan je houden? Wie meer met Bruinligel 0. En is just in de corner go al ach. Ga wat kussen eentje. Gejelik in de show. Moet ik het voorst nog stogen. Michaela McAlooney. Nach Jackson. Schachet er. Rachel Harrison. Sjach. Ganelien. De vast goede drussen op Brownlee. Rash go Lizzie Arnott. Joe Young's vision or gyda. Cat Smart. Didn't job of that. They could mile Arnott vision. Tafrip finish. Rain, you miss Knishak Towley, get a decent Arnott. Very at Shin in Hackins high now. Hearts, Tafrip finishes the game, Shinto. The Rangers. Arnott reached. One Douglas na hoi. Gary Garash in a VN, Macaloni Fane, Barak in a Hassich Gerval Nurse. Bobby Beveridge gain the fall off. Go Sata Shachavan Rangers, Goon and Kuchahuga can eat it. He's still a larger survive, picking the Baraiche. Ach, for a live Cleach and a live yesh is more close at Silmi. Next initial look at a live yesh. Swabby, Joe Huog. Showing the shooting in the road. Kamala Dol haast. Eich gehaast. Han is je Garnet moeier al even glie. Garnet jeketa. I think Lizzie Arnott's been caught out there because I think she thought Chantel Swabby had lost control of the ball. She was going to need to come and get it, but quite an impressive run forward by the Jamaican international.
Yeah, for her debut, she looks extremely comfortable, you know, breaking the lines there. But I think from Lizzie will be a little bit frustrated in that situation because, yeah, as a result of the delay in the pass, she's now caught offside.
You mentioned Zoe Ness earlier. She does seem to have almost a free role. She's popping up deep. She's in behind the front players. Then she's over on the right-hand side, going where she wants to, really.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's a credit to Zoe's, obviously, talent, her range of passing, her creativity. They want her on the ball as much as they possibly can. But, you know, I think that in terms of the growth of Rangers across this part of the season, they really want to encourage that kind of interchange of positions within the playing style as well, and that's what we can see today.
Is een volle shock as a game. Ja, ik zeg hij get er hard natuurlijk het is voor laten walker in de Rangers game Simiva. Sergic, Ness, Kerr, Brownlees, Arnott, Howard die terug voor een hokker gaat er vaar geworden. Arnott terug gelukkig wat goal in je zin. Achter Huge Cat Smart Lucky. Lizzie Arnott, Serisha. Silver Epic Rangers, Brownlee er goal, er zijn nog over Ash. Swabby. Riley. Ness Gain. Lekker Jan Howell. Spartans, liggen Gorms toch eens op Prishik. Macaroni. Mason. Galbraith er al even glie is ook. Galbraith fijn hikke wil gaan jel. Had je een 5. Had je een magerier in vaart. Alleen een magas of uur gezegd. Maar zo'n jele keer is in. Maar alles groot Galbraith gaf in een slooitje. Na dat McLaughlin is in. Corner of Rangers. They've gone from one end of the pitch to the other, but Rangers were being tested there, Pauline.
Yeah, it was fantastic transition. I think initially it's Rona Douglas that steps in and plays the ball into midfield, but you can see there's a real purpose and an understanding of how they want to counter-attack, and I think they had 4 players forward in that moment, and it's really good reading of the game by Jenna Fife.
Hier fast as a Deutsch in the game. Galbraith wel onder waar. Alles wat er is loog in McLaughlin. Harrison Jinema is in. Kaglachig geferist daar. De Rangers stoge keinig te het voor EP Varaki. Robin McCafferty. Go Marshall. Staat play Kirsten Riley. Marshall of speel naar de guy heen. Rangers. Trish van Oorsen. Het chillige zei. Janne Weerke. Hoe niet er weer eens Bobby Beveridge in de verdediging. Spek voor zaken. Steekt er zei nog af is. Na gelaf is. Beveridge in maken is je McLaughlin. Er wel een schach. Arne te veel. Agis gaan nee hier in Haraketje. Zie kai. Schön buurlig. In jaar. See Ferraka glij heen. It's an excellent ball from McLaughlin on the right-hand side here. Pauline Lizzie Arnott clearly annoyed she didn't get it on target.
Yeah, and I think she should be as well. I think, as you say, the delivery is fantastic, and I think Lizzie just needs to be more aggressive and getting her head on that and getting the direction back across the face of goal. But I think the link-up play with Kirsty Howitt and the timing the ball into McLaughlin was far better than what we've seen up until now from Rangers also.
Yeah, she's tried to almost clip it into the net there instead of just powering it through.
Yeah, I think Lizzie will admit that heading's something that maybe isn't a strong point in her game, but yeah, a missed opportunity there for Rangers.
Spartans gain fallaf reached G's na trúr an gcónaí go Rangers féú ar bhála sin thuas ach kick a goal. Stiisiil go leor close at the road Kujoc céir go Brownlee spí corner ilam go Rangers na gaiteach nechil mic an gcóntaigh fiús go a bhíg a man nafar is go bíine Rosa Calder go bhíad corner i bhíg Rangers go seo. Dion McMahon féú as a bhíain fiachan bhí súlach am ar Zoe Ness as a bhíain le Chantal Swaby Nerd van de goal Kujoc gal breed voor Ishilianti. Little courage. Is Shach de Swaby Gaya go Westrup huur counter haast van Leegormik Brianna Westrup ach poringi een Europese Shach. Toch het is McLaughlin de G's dat je rasje de Varke Rangers. Sam Kerr. Swaby. Jusivin Orishevo McCafferty hier wie Sasa Solekal Gasho the Spartans Kerr initially picking round ye heen and then wrote the Brownlee Arne Diggs Howitt is a Fufkes a Kerr in the Shach Kujoc ach the Spartans drain fall off Lona Douglas in the east if I'm not taking a shin Susie Gacy Galbraith Caribbean Swaby Galbraith Boelje eenigen. Real Shears naar Knaap. Zien jullie Chantal Swaby. Rangers komen het ook daar. Bal voor waterval af. Galbraith Chili. Zo je heen Swaby konig. Toch veel eentjes helemaal. Zo kan de stad Swaby in de belogen van Galbraith doen. Marshall fiach Shach de McLaughlin who's alleen nach. Rashnian Gihishin. Avashin Mava Kerr. Hier toe heeft er een Kassinik McAloney. Cormanishik Howitt. Bjarne Sevien. Howitt local joris en gelound wil. Gaan hier Puloch van shit Mageriru. De Spartans hier de kleine van de hure rash. Hiervan. En je maken jullie Spartans naar de Zegune gaan. Douglas er een duifse. Van Hikke Howitt. Tolge Rangers. Je Brownlee van de hoer. Een goedje schaar in de junior. Gerien Picolore Douglas. Snach Boringev. Kali en weg goed. Het Pialu. Kirsty Howitt. Er zijn Tolge Rangers. Skipper Malky Thompson. Roshach zat daar hier. There's no two ways about it, Pauline. I suppose Rangers do deserve that lead. Kirsty Howitt comes up with another goal.
Yeah, it's a great delivery in by Nicola Docherty, and you can see even just before that Rangers real urgency to get numbers in the box. But yeah, we could feel it coming before that in terms of the domination of possession and obviously the number of kind of corners that Rangers had forced as well. So disappointing for Spartans this early in the game, but they need to just find a way to react to that, and I think potentially try and not give away as many set plays in their final third and look at those moments where they can maintain possession of the ball in transition.
Yeah, so your heart goes out to Douglas because she was under such pressure from Brownlee there, who is sort of taller and stronger than her. She did really well to get her head in it, but couldn't do anything but turn it into Howitt's path.
Yeah, like you say, unfortunate in terms of that physical battle, but I suppose, you know, Spartans coming into this game know exactly what they're going to be up against, and I actually thought they'd started well in terms of, you know, the physical battle and given as good as they got, but, you know, in moments like that, you just have to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe Donna Douglas showed there.
Curve game strike hele, na Kirsty Howitt tulling Rangers. Dus 3, so we can hit the game weg. Rangers ik trosh een doellock. They took the man a lot to told a nice city as a game yanta Kavishinas and Dula for around Rangers Shahuja Glasgow City Coke and Yoni. She and Yoni they hearts with how it changes in I guess Nisha Kirsti how to hear told the Niskers ein. There's on Rangers Gurur Hoshach. Zet er streep Paris Kapar League City Rigol. Ossengion de bereiker al daar. Let boy Horster for Farmington Shach and Yoni. Verschillende jaren kun je ook Rangers het kussen waar ik tuil je na dat daar hol echter het inist daar waar ik Rangers tuil je zich even cat smart en die is een gloorske Spartans die nog een stugger in de was Celtic en is beetje een kleintje voor je ik leer slie dan kan je nu weer ja Rangers kunnen Glasgow City ri jegus er hoshachar who an ar foul. Celtic Shach Pinkin with Yeriger City Kabulachanist. Was contact van de yard. Had quick Pinkin er Yerig has to say who's in their hearts snipper I Forfar Farmington and Yoni, Glasgow City Shach, Celtic 3 hearts and Yoni. I guess Hibs 3 top of the Mahari ja en ik heb me wel aan de bereiker al daar. Keer. Gehouden. Nu is McLaughlin. Arnett voor de lijf geliefd Shach en wie een. Bal kartoog is ook iets in de Shach. I guess. Van Sarah Clare en Marguerite Jeliger is in. Arnott, the taller in the world, she's maybe seen probably the most of the ball of any of the Rangers players so far, Lizzie Arnott, Pauline.
Yeah, she definitely has, and obviously you can see that David McCulloch's been very much aware of that and has moved Sarah Cleland over to that right-hand side and Rona Douglas over to the left-hand side, but obviously Rangers have now switched back there. But yeah, definitely a player that Rangers will want to have on the ball as much as they possibly can, a real talent.
Riley, Roy Siach and Maggie Rushin. I've had the kus Rushin. Gamma Brownlee, get that. Cheva, jene klugje dat ik Hibs runners een kleur. Skippig en zo. Daar heeft we werken ik Hibs, maar gewoon er. Het tripletje in de doel in de week. En Bernie is de play.
Rangers ball first to it. Get out!
Behind. McLaughlin. No go Emma Brownlee. Zoals alleen nog zo ineens. Brownlee en is Gwyl i gyhyn yr eist. Rachel McLaughlin. Kerr. Jeremy Giriru. Arnott. Gahokil yr eist. Nes y fiachyn. Nes, bij er is dat. Happer ik al in vision. Bij steeg het cool alleen het en achke. Maar toch zo is. Dit hebben we elkaar terug. Kool Vachkel de skipper ik Alana Marshall. Suez in de park. Nee, Sarash. Shachat er Westrup is skipper nu. Go Jenna 5. Zo in eerste is Rangers foutje nog. Ook McLaughlin, Becken Rome, Becken Michentjik Spartans, Kova Kortjeli Kirische, Brownlee. Vier mijl in de wacht van Kassen, Gaporin Kjarst. Howard. Joe Arp, Bekirsti Howard, ach Becken. Roash, Rachel Harrison, er zo'n Fame Kjarst, een jenigenissen. Rangers geta kiel, maar die gele is al lijfjes. Rooney Douglas Jenny Giegel is in verenigde walen. Rachel Harrison, gaan jullie manager ik het dooi leers dan zit de goede maken ze goeie geta. Brownlee. Paul maken Swabi gaan je in wijn was Swabi. Mogel nog een kus reun ik. Brownlee is in, zoeken hier reun. Wat nog ik zo in eskus. Spartans Jenny Magariru kan wel loinen. Kan wel laatje dan naar in het park. Swabi is Czech hij Ganolfi is de startje neus voor wie voor de klieke Golfi Rutgers klieke is de Hollandse. Ze ga ik kopen de kranie Kodri Jamaica en als Davilis nee Czech. Westrup Suez kokers de Howard naar Borineen van Smach sa ergolmach als ze vaart går riest. Makaloni eruit. Balmashin, Achamissen, ja. Staat goed in Spartans, get er wat misniggelischen. Toch wordt die Giro gerelies staat tussen Lucianeusi. Kusal mag geloren zijn mijlen gedaan is. Er zijn een reetje de haring. Marshall. Féin sa bhádar a fas a bheith sin, féin bigad a rúm seachad ar zúi nes, ach chá nes a dul lig a leg an húd. Sa nes gyda'r ar y chwych far Marshall ar sy'n sa dy seach a Rangers ar eist. Joe Hughes i fan y chwych ar y International dy galapa. Dochertynist, sy'n aloyn Cer as y Cer do gain haast, Sam Cer as y ffwcus ach am bal, dirach rir falaf ar yr eist, dirach bycyn gyn y falaf lys sy'n, hanig a farachasig, Bobby Beveridge fawn y hwyr, yr stad. Rhain hi ma, dirach fwldig yn ein i'r sy'n, i yn y ceintiach nach eich Sam Cer y siachar. Brownlee, gan y fiain, yr is far cawn Spartan as y ffwcus. Sbyn hwrymig Rangers yr is, sy'n bal iach ein gan y fiain. Yna chicken, agus siwt y thorsbych yn ffylchi Spartans yr eist. Hawyd y hawn a ha fein ffacl na clwrs. Un pifwr y sy'n Rachel Harrison. Brownlee Rashko Swabi. Llelen dirach fein bygan dy stad yr ysyn. Carol sy'n siach munud yn bygol ys i hir le. Spartans dyn nhw gleim ag yn i'r ysyn. Rangers yn chymol ffysmach. Eist, camel yn ni byr arna sy'n styn y ceintiach bwrdd i gol hwyr sydd y ffag lys y falda. Nes y fein cwsrwym stocha. Gydych chi tionta gyda lysi arna tyn eist fein ystod yn gwl bygan bal cwnnwstach yr iles stats gyr o'ch gilio'r fy Rachel Harrison hwyr i lafer ag yswg sydd yr falaf a fy chlwydd yn Rangers sŵr Spartans y mach as y ffwcus yr eist bal cwnnwstach yr ir o fy lysi arna Harrison dirach gachwr yr chwl Emma Brownlee fe i'r chwrystach mae'r besyn. Mae'n i mag yr iru agos da Cat Smart is yn nad sgarst sy'n y fal ein i'r falaf cwtioch. Cer yn isle cyrym gan Rangers. Cer safelig ma i'r is for Rachel Harrison. Hai jyn yma ysyn Cer y chyn fasg. Pauline, that's just twice in a minute Rachel Harrison has done pretty much what was needed to defend her goal.
Yeah, definitely. It's fantastic work by Kirsty Howitt and Sam Kerr to execute. And as you say, Rachel is up to it and puts it by for a corner kick to Rangers.
Ballis a tol lille awn. O, fa sy'n ytho'r sŵl yr asir ysyn. Sgael sy'n ysgynig y fysyn. Y dol, agos Zoe Nes, gachwr y siach. Gen i lian siachat yr Rachel Harrison. Nes, yr eist y tol lille. Siaf tol, yishe yr y deisen. Tres games dre hele hair tol ein y Rangers, agos fysyn sŵl yr asir. Dirach yn dras, sio mar y hachara. Chaneg dyn i bwlwch yr hosiwch ar it. You have to say, Pauline, that, you know, despite all Rangers' good play, the set pieces have been where they've looked most likely to get a goal.
Yeah, and I think probably from Rangers' perspective, they'll probably be disappointed that they haven't converted more from set plays, because the delivery of the ball from Ella Brownlee's been excellent, and there we see really good movement from Zoe, which we probably haven't seen enough of in the set plays that they've had before that. So a real threat for them, and something that I think probably Spartans need to look to really defend more aggressively and give away less.
The Rangers do have maybe a slight height advantage, probably a slight advantage of physicality as well as the good delivery from Emma Browning into the box.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Emma shouldn't have goed. Ballenschachers aan het hol. Keir, the G's, Jimmy Killer, Alana Marshall, Cowell, Norsen go. Riley, weer vallen voor Brownlee Kutjoch. Karen Skollerson. Triplet snea herviak in de nu. Ik nooit een techniek ook. Dan gaat Kutjoch. En nog eens killing game kort de vaas geta. Keir initial go. Doherty, Cormac Doherty, ja Khamegi. Er gaan maar vastmaak door het racket. Er kassie schichtje. Fortune see geta. Cormain er immel de vufkish. She may not have got this in target polling, but she seems to have enjoyed the opportunity.
Yeah, she does. It's a great switch of play by Sam Kerr in there, but I think it was probably always going over from Nicola Doherty there. But the positive thing is from Rangers, you know, she's making that movement, making that run, and they're so relentless in terms of the numbers that they really want to throw forward into that attack, which is making it really, really difficult for Spartans at the moment.
But Spartans have done quite well, you have to say, in sort of dealing with that movement, dealing with Rangers' patterns of play, because you know, the two goals that have come, one from a set play, and they haven't created that many clear-cut chances apart from that.
No, you're absolutely correct, and I think, you know, it's the game plan for Spartans is working at times, and you have to understand that Rangers will dictate the majority of possession, and not to allow yourself to become frustrated with that and pick your moments.
Marshall, Suezco, Galbraith. Je wil dat voeten kunnen geloven met zijn V1. Hij Kirsten Riley heeft zijn gorsteen hier gerakjes in. Kaluni, Jacques Galbraith, ach keer torst balen van Horstek. Zijn dus niet precies. Hou het kaskelig keren ha. Sporten ze bal in je rash. Pucht u Suez ervaar gemach. Gedochti, die ging je in de Hanik. Alaska City. Nästa genuma. Spartans doen in daar is er goeie voorgeta. Schach er houdt ga ja. Annika Noaska Liziarne te gaan hierheen voor smaak beloxa. Smart kan je vallen reached. Ja Spartans, dan is veel Rangers tosho gereached. Maar Westrup, dan is McLaughlin gemischt. Riley. Terug vast was een Brownlee. Ach. Hanel. Zit er Cleland go weer is Kelly en Alicia Varrock. Like Rangers bij Glasgow City en Organisation Cleland voor wat. De misk scored de bonige league. Je zit pulgen namen 6 Spartans er Leon is ach. Kwaad er herwaarts en je rash in u na vijf kaliter. Hebben ze de goal schachat er terug. En naar de vuil hakken in het 12 jaar. De Spartans zijn je goede zorg hakken te gaan. Hou het. Kan starten hier is die vijf version. Douglas van Chindenol van cool jesjes in de hoere kasse schacherigen. Douglas is Clelander, Genevieve Gleva, Kamal Taikri Beverages McMahon is bien. Howitz, Doherty, Clich Kondigach. Kun je eens Calienne voor een live glie. Als je een goal te maken een live jesje is. Ze reached in piva. Spartans again doing well, Pauline. They're not. They might be 2-0 down, but they're not letting their heads go down in terms of keeping the pressure on Rangers when they're in possession.
No, definitely not. Their shape's good, and they're showing patience and trying to identify the correct moments to try and steal the ball back. And I think that's what's really important. I think the difficult thing for them is when they do win possession of the ball back, the blue press just really comes upon them. And they've had some good combination play, but just not been able to get maybe that combination play far enough up the pitch.
Should doel like the Spartans. It's been a store ploegstoch is Narnelje. Ploeg de Rangers. Een profession die. Ploeg laan unie, training laan unie gewoon. Spartans 3 uur en jaar kun. Verschillende kellen in de bij en we kunnen nou. McLaughlin. Saka Brownlee. Weet je de Torstoel. Eicher er een uur te rekken. En Janine komt in de dikken gaan in die rig. Nu kunt jullie actually. McLaughlin. Leg naar Marshall. Weer is zeggen dat Arne ten is. En gaan we lekker weer Rangers toch. Ganjel. Levit alrash gemeen paar. Kaporingen kalvarach Janu. Ach haat. De Wavennoker. Karsti Houdt. Lesje Giet Hul Genesker. Oké. De Shamerich en Figet Gaif. Bestuur het Dol waschen. Lesje Houdt goed Rojagiat. Rangers. Les makker de game met de raket. Van Hoshok het hier te hebben zijn. Ik heb ook een niveau. Bestuur het naar het Hul waschen. Wo zo ineens. Fijn geval. Hoshok het kaag. Zeven Boschijn. Agus Shoshin, ik leg u niet meer. Rangers, ja, Spartans in Johnny. Veeltje is bekken u niet gezegd dan de kutjach. Chete, gloeit er mee aan de park nu. Ik Spartans zeven Celtic grondvleel niet naar geha. Het Hoshok maar in de bij Howland region. Cat Spart.
I can't say that I'm anywhere other than over the moon. It's a great environment. It's a team which, you know, I've wanted to join for a while. There was a chance that I was going to join it previously, but yeah, I really enjoy it here. The girls are good, the coaching staff's great, the facilities fantastic. You know, I can't complain. It's really good.
Is there something about the club that attracted you in terms of the ethos of the club and things like that?
I mean, Spartans it's been known for a while, like forever, as a community club, and they really do everything just to give back to the community. There's no kind of benefit in it for themselves, and so the fact that they're working with kind of local youth groups, local schools, all these kids, it's just a really good environment to be in, and it's I'm proud to be part of that. Obviously, all the stuff that they do for the community, it's been a little bit dampened down because of the past year, but it's something that in the year to come and whatever, I'm excited to be involved in as part of this kind of, it's a family, and it really is considered as family, and you feel like a family when you're here.
How did the move come about then? Because it's come in the middle of a lockdown, a pandemic, where the season was suspended and teams weren't knowing what they were doing. How did the move actually come about?
I mean, I've been in touch with Debbie for you know, a number of years. I kind of always kind of known her as a coach ever from, I mean, probably from the time that she was a coach at the Scottish University Games back when I was at university, and I'd had a good year at Celtic under Eddie. Learnt a lot from him, learnt a lot from the players at the time. And I just felt, you know, well, when Eddie left, I felt I needed a little bit of a change. The travel, the increase with Celtic going full-time, the extra commitment, trying to balance that with a full-time job, it became quite difficult with the travelling as well. And I needed to try and get a bit more of a work-life balance, which is important. And so my first port of call would always be Spartans. So I spoke to Debbie and she said she'd be delighted to have me on board, and I'm definitely glad I made that move.
You're a managing director of an engineering firm. Yep. How, in general, have you fitted football in with any club that you've been with?
I've got a very understanding business partner. He's one of my old coaches back from Hutchie and he understands the demands of football, and so having that understanding, he knows that my side of the business, I'll always get it done. It doesn't matter if it's done at 9 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock at night. We've got that respect that I'll get my side done, he'll get his side done, and we just let it roll, and it's worked out so far.
Tell me about the last year for yourself in terms of lockdown and just, you know, the football season starting, stopping, changing clubs and things like that? Has it been difficult to come to terms with how it's been?
It has been difficult. It's just, it's kind of that being in isolation. I mean, we're in a team sport for a reason. We like being around other people. We like having the banter, the communication. You know, we like having those relationships with our teammates, and having that taken away was very, very difficult. And there's only so much that you can do to try and compensate for that. We had, you know, Zoom sessions a couple of times a week. A couple of us, you know, with various kind of training partners would meet up, and we were lucky we had the access of this facility when we were allowed to come down in pairs and do distance training side by side. So having that option to come and, you know, train with at least one of your teammates definitely gives you the motivation to kind of keep on going, and the team benefited from that, and we came back in decent shape.
There have been such a lot of changes in the Women's League in recent years. Celtic and Rangers, as you said, at your time at Celtic invested in their team. Rangers have obviously invested in their team. How good is it for the league that there's investment coming in, but how difficult is it for teams like Spartans to keep up with that?
You'll get both sides of the coin. It's good in terms of it makes us at Spartans, you know, really try and pick up our game even more. We know we need to focus. When we're at training, it's everything is kind of aiming for, you know, improving and get that game on the Sunday. And I think we look for the competition. We would never shy away from it. I think the way that the Scottish League has moved in you know, the past kind of 10 or 15 years, and where it's going now is fantastic. I don't think anyone would ever say that it's bad having kind of these professional teams, and I would hope that in the future more teams would be professional and there'd be even more investment into the women's game.
Hopefully you've still got a good few years left in your playing career yet, but how much do you look back at your career and, you know, enjoy the fact that you were part of that change in women's football?
The change is unbelievable. Obviously I was out of the game for 5 years when I went to Dubai, and it's nearly unrecognisable from before to then coming back. You come back and it's so much more professional. You know, you can everyone's proper athletes now, and to be a youngster coming into that, whether you're kind of 12, 13, 14, looking at these role models of the national team, you know, getting to the World Cup and, you know, that massive achievement, or whether you're kind of 16, 17, 18, and you know, that opportunity to become professional and have that as a career it's very exciting for kind of everyone coming through. It's nice to be part of the process, but unfortunately I think I'm just a bit past maybe 15 years ago. If it had come in, it would have been a different story.
Looking back again then at how much sport has played a part in your life, how important has it been to you?
It's been instrumental. I've done sport from an incredibly young age. Whether it was, you know, just playing in the street with my older brother, and whatever sport was on television, whether if it was Wimbledon, we're playing tennis. If it was the World Cup, we're playing football. And I've always been involved in some sort of sport. From primary school, playing in school teams, and then when I went to high school, taking up alpine skiing and doing that as my dominant sport. And then when I stopped doing that, getting back in, you know, back into kind of football again. It's for me, it makes that life balance perfect.
Go back to your skiing. Sum up your skiing career for us.
Skiing was it. I think skiing kind of defined who I was. At 15 years old, 10 of us were packed on a plane over to New Zealand, 3 coaches, no parents. And if we weren't up at 5 in the morning to get on the bus to get to training, we didn't go to training, and it was us that missed out. So we had to really kind of step up our game and make sure that we acted professional and took responsibility for for our own training. Skiing takes up, it's a massive commitment. Being in Scotland, it's difficult because obviously the conditions, you don't often get skiing. So every school holiday we had, we were away, whether it was Austria, France, New Zealand, Norway, you know, we're traveling all over the world. And, you know, up to, you know, you can maintain that so long. And I did it up until 19. I did a year out. So kind of throughout the national alpine team, from 15 up to 19. And then it's something that's very difficult to make a career of, even harder than football. And so at 19 I decided I think I have to go academic-wise, and went to university. And that's when I decided to take up football.
Getting back into football, how easy did you find getting back into it after that 5-year gap?
It was fine. It was a way to meet new people. You know, you're going through transitions from going to school to university. You have to kind of grow up and you know, you're widening your friend group, and it was, for me, it was just like a new group of friends. And that was at Tynecastle, and I met some great friends there that I'm still best friends with to this day.
Would you consider one of your friends that you played with in your career Diego Maradona?
Yeah, he's borderline friend, definitely. To be blessed with his grace, with his presence on numerous occasions, I'll never forget. His girlfriend played in my team in Dubai, and he would regularly just come to our games, just like a normal spectator, come along and watch us half-time, give us some advice, you know, how to win the game. Most of the time it was shoot, you know, just to go for goal yourself. But yeah, he would join us when, you know, if we won the league, he would join us celebrating as well, and just being around his presence was, you know, it's inspiring, and a great legend that I'll never forget.
How do you feel you want the rest of your career to go? What do you want to achieve still?
I want to play at the best that I can for as long as I can. I can maybe pass on some of my experience and kind of knowledge of the game to the younger ones. As I say, I'm in a great environment here. Still learning. You know, you still come to training. You're still learning. You're still improving. And anything that I can pass on to the younger ones that will help them and progress them closer to their goals of, you know, maybe even becoming professional, then, you know, that's, for me, that's a job done.
Hello. What are you watching? 360? What's that? I'll show you.
Cab Sŵl Rejyn ma, YouTube sy'r gach ach yle, han y clwyd yr yn erash y mwy. Jysiol gystorsiwch, sy'n ymwysio, fel sy'n ni jysiol o'r son lygael lo, sy'n ymwysio fel am y noch sy'n fel cyw, o'r han y Spartans agos rhain jysiol agos Jonach. Agos, diolch tort Sŵl erash. Yn y sgipin, chacharich mi gael achrach ys mi ander, 2-2. Just gaken Johnny Roshach van de Gietlie. Glochen Rashka 5. Westrap. Zoals al wijnen. Richard McLaughlin, ACJ, akast de huid het je nul kujokach. Gaan je tikken, wel stokken vijf, hou je tikken is, bekken de verrag, waarschijnlijk zeer Cleland. Er wil de mag meer gehaald, als je staat te zeggen Rangers gehaald. Klochlen. Hou het. McLaughlin's Irish, Kermishaw, Rangers, McLaughlin Lish, Starling Ma, Curram Haas, Doche, Doherty Le Count, the Rash in the Vukas, Harris and Jenny Magariru, Kamal Soul edition, another for Brownlee. Achanil Kunor Simial, Nacha Harrison, or Jenny Maharish. It's excellent play, Pauline, between McLaughlin and Kirsty Howard here.
Yeah, it is great link-up play, great understanding, and we've seen that from Kirsty Howard throughout the first half as well, in terms of being able to link the play, but a fantastic stop by Rachel Harrison.
Rangers retorgehoog, Kamapi Ohlesen Darnle. Maar we te nul, Samachkesen has had de Shacharish, Chusas and Loshen Sam Care. Mooi, de geleidjes in de rust. Kan smart wat priminischen, ik je hoenje. Kuisne korteri erin Golash. Even kloeitje Spartans in de rust. Brief via gaan weer de smaak Gaporingi, Zerashko, Jenna 5 Lish. Pauline, do you think either coach will have been sort of truly happy with the first half? You can't really be happy if you're losing, but Debbie will have been pleased with their performance to some extent.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been moments that Spartans have defended very, very well, and they've had one or two counter-attacking opportunities, but I think probably for Debbie in the second half, she'll want the team to try and start maybe a little bit higher up the pitch, so if they can get a transitional moment, then they're much closer to the Rangers' goal.
Malka Thompson will have been satisfied enough, I think, with Rangers, but he'll always be looking for more, you would imagine. They're setting high standards for themselves.
Yeah, they are, and I think, you know, we spoke earlier about the number of corners they actually had, but were obviously only able to take advantage of one, so I think that's an area that they'll want to look to develop in, and I would say the second half looking to try and maybe create more clear-cut chances.
Arnott, Rash, go. Swaby. Hier die Mechkersje, Gabriel, wat is aan je oorske hier die Mechker? Look at the Meka. Doe het hier de Schachhoeke. Doherty happy shit the gut. Van de Egipte loger wel een Rash heen gedaan. Doherty's Howard is Keruli gekloeg. McLaughlin kutje gekloeg gekloeg. Als je zit hier in deze gal af. Tron of Leon de Meijering, het uniger closet van Peter Hill, go gaan Howie. De six Spartans er is bal in je mag ze vuur gezag geheen die Alana Marshall schön nach Suez gemeene paar kijk eens go Brianna Wester op de wijn. Swaby, Noel, bal Marshall go Doherty en mijn versmaak boy Hurricane. Bal Kunnersjoch, bal Scania. Ze Kirsty Howard. En fijn nog Kimmer naar Jachasjach. Rachel Harrison still me fijn Kimmer naar Jachasjach door de warach kach. She bal ma vaum. Really should have been the third, you would say, Pauline.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kirsty did a really good game so far. I'm just not quite sure what happens here. She maybe actually tries to direct it, and as opposed to just getting a contact on it, but she'll be disappointed with herself.
I think it's almost as if she's had to duck just that little bit further for it than she'd expected, and then turned it over the bar. But good to see Nikki Doherty getting up and down the left-hand side as well and getting on the ball. She didn't maybe see as much of the ball as she'd have liked in the first half.
No, I think probably Lizzie Arnott's kind of had most of the ball in that first half, but like you say, Nicola Doherty, another player that has very good delivery from that side of the pitch, and as we see there, kind of puts it on a plate for Kirsty, shall we say. So they'll be disappointed that they've not added to their 2-0 tally.
Chivorska, Rebecca Galbraith vision. Westrup gaan hier vallen in Rangers Noordag. Karen Erhard Shahat lay Brownlee mee in de park. Spartans Jennifer is zoals al even geliefd. Marshall is skipper. Cor is kiet gelijk game. Cor ma is kiet gelijk game. Zelf minister Spartans on the 9 season. Game. Ik skipper Debbie McCulloch. Die kan maar vast geen highlight zijn. Glasgow City gur 3 tol jaar a holge mille e highlight gerandig een tol. In de Jonica Rangers andere gaan je het Ainsley Park ne bereik hier in deze. Ja, ik heen naar Hibs telken Jonica highlight die Celtic. gaat er een goesje in voor vervangen. Ze hebben een mager hart. Gaan ze gaan heen naar Hibs. Ik zit geen gerre waardschat. Hibs er wel zeggen dat er een riesje praatje nu. Kan hem ook Rangers haast. Ries Palma. Ries geta. Hapudding heeft fijnjes kars. Sam Kerr wikken voor schuur. Van Baalek. Lizzie Arnott die de Kroaten er hoosje gerisje geta. Doherty. Is Arnott ook op een maak hondigen door het. Better link-up play down the left-hand side again between Arnott and Doherty this time, Pauline.
Yeah, definitely. But I just think again we see that final ball being overhit, and Sam Kerr is unable to obviously make contact and put the game probably out of reach of Spartans there. So yeah, definitely an area that I would see Rangers, you have to work on, because they're being a little bit wasteful now.
Swabby. Gachama. Cassidy in motion. De val af de Doherty. Van niet ik Rebecca Galbraith, ik Louise Mason Kilora, zo'n die is goed vergaven. Kijk eens. Kunnen lekker de Rangers fijne maken verder van de goal. Hij weet of je geneerd. Gaan natuurlijk vast wat ik in Sheriff en de keuze in de Rangers go we klootje in de Hibs in de jacht in Spartans ik Falcher Celtic als que City in de top de maar we zakken het BBC al op het is bij Hearts kloot voor Farmington. Chegorstjen cool de hier. Ik Robin McCafferty. Robin McCafferty's been in the wars today, Pauline. She got that big dunt from Westrap earlier on, Zoe Ness this time.
Yeah, she certainly has, but she's a resilient character, and Robin will be fine, and she'll play on.
She was one of those names you picked out pre-match. Pleased to see her in the Spartan starting lineup.
Yeah, it definitely was, and a very different role for her today, playing kind of that defensive midfield role. But I think she's adjusted to the situation well, and for somebody that is so young, she's very mature, and she likes to take accountability and take responsibility. And I think Robin's done okay in there today. Probably not her favourite position, but willing to do a role for the team.
Certainly got her hands full as well with the movement between the likes of Kerr and Ness. Sam Kerr er wel draast. Riley. Gaat schakelt de zo Ness. Nachro een duur voor Chevale. Goedje heen Paul Klima maken Richard McLaughlin. Even smaak ik hier het mee. Ga echt gerust. Ze kunnen fiscal geef Kerr en Olga Doherty er al even glie. Ga weet te veel als ze vuurkes Arnott iets in hieke. Hier je bal dat Sam Kerr geen voipen is. Gehouden. Veeg met John denk van Doherty kan jullie voipen. Zijn vaak al zo in de park. Arnott er al even glie. Kan jullie raas roaten. Ja, Kirsten Riley wat je in de schach. Ze gaan eigenlijk houden tegen de waarop. Ik heb de geristaat. Er Spartans waar we verder maar gaan verrest. Super Chuck Rangers. Als de goed jacht je dat nog kijken zien, dan goed je daarna nog kijken van naach. Ach, kun je het bulog geen gele. Maar de wegen te kiezen kan nou. That time in the game, Pauline, where the coaches start sort of chatting to each other, looking around, looking behind them, looking at who's warming up. Neither team is maybe as strong in the bench as they would like to be at this stage of the season.
No, probably not. Obviously, we spoke earlier about the Northern Ireland players and Megan Bell and Demi Vance both out injured for Rangers. But I suppose looking at the two teams, Rangers would probably have the slightly stronger bench. But one of the names that really sticks out to me, and I'd love to see her back playing today, is Laura McCartney for Rangers, a young player that I worked a lot with previously, but underwent ACL surgery. So great to see Laura's name back on the team sheet for Rangers today.
ACL is een grootje door Munishin. Dat is al aanhouden. Dat is twee bruine Spartans en mag kutjuk. Dat is opperluim zijn eender. Ik loon hier in ACL lekker kutjuk. En dan Laura McCartney's. Dat wordt toch goed in de leedjobbing. Kormisho, ik Arnott gaan je. Weer gauw. Ga je bracht toch zoals. So Rangers tegen nu daar achter in de raast. Brogan he, agus Sonja O'Neill, junior. Ja Rangers, die zaken. Zoe Ness, hier tje a y doliau. Colas oreg rwy fas fwtbyg ski agos ar y ceir. Gofi y doliau cwydioch yma Brownlee y fagl yn y parc. O'Neill te y senior. Sonia Neil fall contra Venezuela. Trynjach yn y galop ac yn betreni achgys game carsel ach gael fys y Sbaen. Sy'n sas yn y sy'n. Isio fel ysach mi yn y parc. Rwgyn hi mach ar y lain fi eich. Hi dafl yn yr ichyd. Rhaen gondri Oscar City. Iolas gyda'r eich gysio sydd i'r fi clwch efo fai. Na ti ac ar y gymawg. Nishko, Mitchell Harrison. Merakashin, O'Neill fen hier toe gekesje. Tjene Rördlish, Kormeiche Biachin. For a fatter fall off. I guess he calling Corum. She looks like she's enjoyed her Venezuela training camp. Very keen to get an early effort in there, Sonia Neal.
Yeah, fantastic confidence. I think Rachel Harrison just obviously the clearance. Doesn't do her team any favours, and as we say, Sonia's first touch on the ball is a shot at goal, but unfortunately for her off target.
O'Neill rwgig am Canada ach arwch gychwch Venezuela. Hyn agos Gershon Riley nes mi yn y parc Carcona. O'Neill y fein cas hynny sy'n hosioch. Drwg yn hef ein y ciawn ar y falda. Alana Marshall, skipper Spartans. Cwydioch y chag i mi yn y parc. Mae cas ar dysyn. Cat Smart dysyn. So Westrip y cyrraedd cael yn y sefala. Tor syfrep y Rangers. Gar yn bal chwrch yn y fwchgys. Nio. Yn clwch y sgelig. Doliad reality. Kusi mi yn y parc as yn bal o hwgal yr yrd, hana dw. Doch yn y mach gahi. Swabi, cas yn ma, Chantel Swabi ysyn. Clywyd yr yrd yn arsyn dw, clach gig yn iol y siechgyd. Harrison. Erik Lachking is it, a Kirsty Howard. Anachatu, Gillies, Fakin Gillinghormishin. I think she even managed to get a wee flick on that, Pauline. She knew what she was doing to try and turn that on target.
Yeah, she definitely did, and I think she's shown great energy both in and out possession for Rangers today. Just looks like she's absolutely loving her time here.
Sonia Neal's gone into centre midfield as you would expect. Brogan Hay out to the right-hand side. A wee chance maybe there for Brogan Hay to try and establish a wee position for herself on the pitch, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she came on, I think with maybe 20 minutes to go or so last week against Hearts, and I thought probably out the sub she made the most impact. Very confident 1v1, she's lively. So yeah, a little bit of an opportunity for more minutes under her belt today.
Hier, Shalin the guy in your val, and you'll Kusik in here, sir. Gershon Riley, Gary, but I had a coach in a green jush, can you look at Camille Luggalishin, Cormashog, Spartans, Cat Smart, finding the val the East, Gayari Rash, and you'll pull a Gaha Smart. There is that Catalis Swabi, who are Azavat or the Dahuris, the Van Cormaun, Spartans, Corum Hamas, Ruichet, as the Darnalia show, be at the Kai. Nach trying to pick in the PR listen. Certainly the best opportunity of the second half for Spartans here, Pauline.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's a great run into the channel by Becky Galbraith, and she picks out Cat Smart well. But I think for me, just the wrong decision in terms of that final execution. I think she could cut the ball back to Michaela McAloney there.
Chantel Swabi showing no sort of nerves at all there, though all her experience didn't dive in, stood on her feet, did exactly what the old defenders would tell you to do.
Yeah, definitely, and she looks like she's going to be a real addition and a real bonus to Rangers for the remainder of the season, given the injuries that they've suffered.
Bobby Beveridge, Italia, Tegan Reynolds, Echinier, Nahacha. I shouldn't talk over picking the Gaharach Selmi Gaif. Reynolds de seach mé in y parc. Beveridge gol gef o yn y chwl. Camar fé cwl na hysgach eich gysyn. Si falaf hi ys ffom sy jo. Riley, mach go he. Chaniach Sam Kerr gymlysgol Gijvan ar y dyfawl. Dokiar echtrat. Westrup. Na knap yr olar far yn y parc. A clwyd ar Spartans hier skutjak Mason sele me ha yr olar yn dyfawl. 5 ymach Swabi. Chan Mason y wawl na Shiva Caribi'r Swabi sinse. Alana Marshall y skipper hawn. Gyrgol yr braioch. Mae gloch yn geir i'r laif iesh. Sa'n gyn laif chlys arna dy chaya. Sa'n tyl wawl na chanach gyda Rachel Harrison sin. Bair y gloch gynisti chanechgi yn yr bethau cael cas. Arnett. Agus Lizzie Arnett. At the Drestol Rangers ein. Slightly unfortunate maybe for Rachel Harrison, the Spartans goal here, Pauline. I don't think she sees the effort leave the foot of Lizzie Arnett, but she takes the chance well.
Nah, I don't think she does. Looks like Robert McCafferty there's kind of blocking her view, but I think probably part of her might think as well that Lizzie might go for the far right corner. But listen, we just spoke about Brogan Hayes' entry, and I think her impact there and her assist for that goal is something that will give her a lot of confidence. So well done to her also.
Still the Rangers maha. Arnett is she dahol ein in jacket zich haier. Chele ein in nu. Keinig de klukje erin zit. Toch klukjes een Arnett tur is een Arnett game achke. Rivlione. McLaughlin gaan ja hier aan de risch kabeliskal. Had kan afvatten weer omhouden in de behal. Is met een rischkal heen. John McLaughlin de rimmel de vuurtjes. Riley voor EP. Veniev. En de coach in Veniev. En de klukje erin begoor staat ik job. Westrup. Sam Kerr. Eva er lokal bekan. Le smart zullen me wouden hoor. Kasses Jacharu. Kerr kliva de valde wall Jacques Kassen de Junach. Van hier val af smart ploeg maar wij Yuri. Dat ga je staat Camille legal. Lizzie Arnett. Ik al oorlog server op Rangers. Le Brogan hier maken live Yeshike. Swabi, I guess Westrup, I guess O'Neill, I guess Riley in de klugje erin aan een streer rimmel de vuurtjes. Ga je maar coheren live Yesh. In geval van de leunen, Gary Garash, Jach Kutjo, Kurm haast ik hou het stochen. En ik ga een gas Yeshike, ik ga negi. Bal versmaakt local jaar. Heen is toch een leunen riest. Gary Garash, oh, voor een post. Ik Riley, het in de schache de vallen zijn. Zie je miljoen jas, kan er kutje kan hele zo hier zijn. Ach, riest. Van Gormer de grote schies alive yes. And again, it's Brogan Hay who has really made an impact in this game, Pauline, since she came on, who created that chance for Riley.
Yeah, as I said, you know, 1v1, she loves those opportunities, and she's playing with confidence because everything that she's touching at this moment is having a really positive impact for Rangers. So absolutely great to see for young Brogan Hay, and Kirsten Riley will be just probably feeling a little bit unhappy there that she's not managed to make it for them.
She was definitely unhappy there wasn't a corner, but maybe that's because she didn't get it on target. Ook met dat je fiet rakel nummer zijn. Daar heb ik in. Spartans kan je even again. En een show mag. Ach, via de Rangers zeggen maar mag. Rangers kan weer vinden zeggen shock het. Arnett is hier je bal verhouden terug. Wat er horsje worden. Spartans via geen Qatari doel en horsje Rangers kan in de park. Kalelen en Magariru komen het al Mason en Ish. Kijk, je gaat zeggen in Wien. Je gaat vallen af. Low Westrup. Spartans showing a bit of intent there, Pauline. It's hard to imagine a way back for them in the game, but that doesn't mean they're going to lie down to Rangers.
No, definitely not. I think it's really great work there by Sarah Cleland, and I think she's probably one of the better players from Spartans today. She's experienced and she's confident in her own ability, and I think she's had really good moments in the game. But you know, I think for me, if we go back to the Spartans' best chance, if Kat Smart plays that back to Michaela Macaroni, it's 2-1 and it's a whole different ball game, and potentially makes Rangers feel, you know, a little bit unstable.
It's the sharpness they showed last week against Hibs in taking the chances when they got them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a high-level game you're playing here against Rangers. You need to do that when you get the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's something that they did very well, extremely first half against Hearts last week. But that final product today has just not been there on probably too many occasions, in my opinion.
Sam Kerr is le byggen Rome is McManus a Jay Kerr le comes cawn the hogal ball chluichen y fians rwate hosioch Lysiarna te va fiachin rifein chynnysin a chanegi blwch chynnyfalig Sam Kerr. Small margins again. Pauline Kerr does really well, but can't quite get the ball close enough to Lizzie Arnott.
No, she does, and it's a very purposeful run-in, and it's the correct idea, but again, it's just the final execution, a little bit over-hitting, and Lizzie can't get on the end of it.
Mitchell Harrison fast, good. Corach in een wal kujok, is toch jasje maar hier naar door. Verkleeg Gasek Macaroni, Mark Mason. Cleland en Isch, Ujechtje, Paul Heugach. Gaat de vara vatte Georgi, en ik Chantal Swabi Machichke. Daar achter Kovichin, de Spartans. Macaroni. Swabi van Lavlek Jaun. Just a football. Static is een kunkloos, het kuntjelijk. Ik de alle mag van Swabi. Vijver Spartans ook al. Malcolm Thompson en coach hier in de maag pakken van de goal. Close het Suez in de vark. Die is kanonnig ishin. Kate Fruigus. Kalike Banselmin Yisha Chishellerson Hinjer Geisen. Sir Rangers, nou staat de Shaka Rangers. Ik heb het handstock en daar zit de ja Spartans en daar Januf Sheha. Arviga, Falav, Louise Mason. Het al ja. Ergens Macaroni delen. Falav. Aardig in Kenyan Mahale. Debbie McCulloch. En dan heb je nog een skippig Spartans uur gepikken. Neil nog kijkers aan de veiling meer in het park. Kijk, schijnlijk kan me gochelen. Hey, kijk maar, teuer, Goriken, skill magerier van broken heeg. Stoog een pas voetpak, ro anamach het al Jensi Lizzie Arnott. Takker maar wij kajori. Hij is kan geen kutjok dat is een falavra ra. En dan ga ik een pishin. Iemand in de skippergille Astriërs in de league. En nu Rangers Glasgow City, nu het over de maand. Sint Kaviak in Pio, en dan ga ik een keer door in Vesker City. De Guusje voor Farming en Geferres de nu. Voor Guusje wordt over de maand en jagen ze gaai. Zijn er 5 kajuri. De mag van de 5 gezegd. Chantal Swabi over Brakischen. Als een al schachet voor Cali Gibb. Riley, Lizzie Arnott, en nog een keer er al even glie. It's Lizzie Arnott. I think she's having one of those days where it doesn't matter what Lizzie Arnott does, she ends up just being fractionally offside, no matter which side of the pitch she's on.
Yeah, I think she's maybe just a little bit over-eager there. Lizzie definitely doesn't need to be at that tight for her because she's a quick player, so she can overcome a large majority of the fullbacks that she plays up against.
Maybe just a touch of over-eagerness as well, hoping the pass comes sharper, and maybe sometimes the pass should go sharper.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Going Rash, a whole notion with Cat Smart, Alana Marshall, Fein Curmer of Alanish. I know his Giniki Cat Smart, Lisha Hajach, Hajikavarok, gonna live Hliegis, keep through Spartans again, Yidis a Cayu, Scormic McLaughlin, Chinawak Lishka Rangers. Doherty, Shach Gaker. Spartans have done quite well to retain their shape despite quite a few changes now. They lost one of their central defenders, Beveridge. They've had to shuffle things around, but they're still managing to keep their form as you would want them to.
No, they definitely are, and probably, you know, Robin McCafferty dropping back into the back line is much more natural position for her, and then Alana Marshall has obviously come inside, and Katie Frew went out wide. So, you know, I think for me, maybe for somebody like Alana Marshall, I can understand why she played in that wide area today, being a left-sided player, but potentially maybe not being as involved or as influential in possession as she could have been in a more central role.
Close to getting the pass on target there as well. They've threatened at times just to put a bit of pressure on Rangers.
No, they definitely have, and I think, you know, whatever the score is, after 90 minutes, there's definitely lots of positives that they'll be able to take from this game, both, you know, in the way that they've defended at times and in the moments that the counter-attack has been on.
Diana Burma, agus Claire Gamble, Jishellerson hier Rangers. Hukenbal Schachat sin car ferrest, Lizzie Arnott Vaughan, ga je duurjaarlijke fas, Sonja Nieler, begin genervotte je nu. Toch een Willown, dan gelijk dat gloedje naar de game, Rashake is jij uniek lievig, even training. Kirsten Riley, het al ja. Daarop met Burma, agus Claire Gamble, het je hier. Daar Chanish Hashin, Riley agus Arnott. Avalov. Arnott Lishin Drestol, Rangers in Yucatan. Kirsten Riley hier visas aan de kleur, die prak met een laaf, prak in de paraatje, die varken shit. In de hoogkaas, nou wat in je marig stochen. Op een fietje Riley in is Jolis. Gilior aan de lapis, aan de sassin. Geloof dat ik maar kutter mag Rangers gaan hier is. Mag Doherty, maar al even glie. Gaan Fax, gaan we ik heen, gaan in Gacherpik. Cleland de bal in voepen. Cleland toch af heel laven nog, kan ik gaan halen gedaan. Sarah Cleland had a good game. Pauline, both she and Rona Douglas have come under a lot of pressure, but done quite well.
No, she definitely has, and as I say, you know, I think one of probably Sarah's strengths is her physicality and her belief in her own ability, and she's definitely shown that today, both in and out of possession.
Foul throw. Like Nicola Doherty. Doesn't matter if you've been to World Cup or not. If the referee thinks it's a foul throw, he's going to give a foul throw.
Definitely. It is what it is.
Come on, Priestje hier, Kerskeliot. Claire Gamble. Erefard, skipper Rangers, maar is avist. Westrapper, Shinne gaan we liggen heen. Zo Westrapper, Gunnevalen was het van de aan de kant breed. Was een kwaal laatje. Joe Jeus hier wel. Westrapper excessive laatje Gunnishin. Certainly a full-blooded, wholehearted challenge from both of them there, Pauline.
Definitely, and that's absolutely what we want to see. Competitive nature of the game, showing its true light there.
Tegan Reynolds, I guess. Brianna Westrup. Jenna kunt niet achter je wie Karen mee. Jenna Pfeiffer. Geven hier wat zorgen in de weegje. Voorgoed genoppen. Rijn die Paul Le Cassen wel. Doherty. Hou het, kom maar. Zie je hier maar zo'n hoekeli heen. Burma. De garage. Oh, zeg het er holt in je. De merk van McMahon. She corner of his own. Hanei brogan he hick below on now. Mach Hurias lishin pakent John McManach. Stock at Renny Fee Machorican Lish Kujuk Burma Vound de Cheval Schach. I guess McMahon like a lish. Gewoon van Aftrakas en Achlesu Higvik. Vaak een corner like Rangers like 1 minute in Giacri goal. Haragilika Uloghle Rangers. That's at the goal in corner. Carman Haast. Oh, gewoon nach Taneke Sonja Niel like vast goed. Je Wester bewoonde. Jach Rurp no. Kuju jach de Saal. De val Wester bewoon. De 0 go O'Neill. Ganego O'Neill Fasker. Skipper a large in Carfashkischen. Goed, ik zit weer Burling aan de casting is meer waar. Water. Carly Girasoli. Katjus Shalahugerson hier. Eentje nog geen Kogalas. Je Swabi, ik lig hier het game. Je Westrop, wie saas in de grond juist in Kruije. De goede Girasoli zit de taartje natrekken. Swabi Alarak. Pas go Doherty. Gaan hij hier de glutje. Eigen share wat meer genie. Chantal Swabi. Het glutje kleva. Zie het game je Rangers. Eigen Carly Girasoli in je haartje. Dat bekende gebek in je ruisje. Gaan jullie kwant nog voorstel vanaf. She's been a decent introduction to Rangers. She's had a good game, Chantal Swabi, who looked slightly uncomfortable leaving the pitch there, but she looked very comfortable on the park.
Yeah, she did. I'm not sure if she's maybe got a little knock there, but no, I think all in all, you know, our performance today's been good. We've probably seen her challenged more kind of in possession, where she looked comfortable to help build the play and break the lines, but we've maybe not really seen so much in terms of our defensive qualities, but I'm sure we will across the next few weeks.
An international player, played against Scotland at Hampden, went to the World Cup with Jamaica. She's got the pedigree that you would imagine she would be a good fit in that Rangers defence.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And as we spoke about earlier, you know, they're currently missing Debbie Vance, so yeah, it looks like somebody that will feature a lot in the remaining games of the season for Rangers.
Kirsty Howitt. Jim Fashkishin. I got a kitchen the Biar Stoche. Lishaner, pitchin the Shachare. Has Chlieke. 3 tuiles hier die een beetje naar trialist. Ik weet het een trialist. Had de Legion. Had een kinjoletje aan de balkastje. Ach, zo'n maar trialist te horen uit niet hier tuilen. Ik ga Rangers je zei. Close up the city. Marshall, kijk haar niet veel. Zo'n zit toch goed je mag sport. Howitt. Bal Geriger Douglas. Schaak City. Natuurlijk het is fijne magietje van de goal. Mogelijk hier in de verhaal was het coach Spartans er zo'n goede scheuling. Ik had de Vara ik. Callie Broatic at Sam Karen is puchtiger uit Howitt. De goal in Howitt. If je naar. Kahamal. Kasound toch echt geen reach. She certainly looks as if she's keen to get another goal here, Kirsty Howitt, because she's had a couple of opportunities where she might have moved the ball on, she might have played the pass, but she's taken the shot on.
Yeah, and it's great to see. And like I said, I think, you know, she's a player playing with a lot of confidence. She's happy, and she's relishing the opportunity to be a professional footballer.
Teacher P. Eindje, dat is bij Glasgow City. Ach, Colin Horman hoort Paulin nu. Profession toch? Koye ha. Die schak is toch? Maar Galbraith is weer een koeie steed in goal. Ach, kid vrouw Kujak she is een line zijn. Slowing at 10 minuten. In nur hietje geleave Joch Rigol. Rangers the once maker game maar we doen. Pauline, will Rangers look at this as a potentially really tricky game, sort of negotiated safely, even if it's not been the most dominant of performances in some respects?
Yeah, I think they will. I think obviously they knew that this weekend it would be probably more physically challenging for them in terms of maybe the way it was last weekend against Hearts. Spartans, a much more physical side, and I think a more experienced team as well. But I think that, you know, they may still be a...
Cormac Doherty, Joe Youncy, wow. Fashit Magariru, a Dolkalar, a Fena Cassischachet, Ishin, Robin McCafferty, a Januma Marus Paul in the Bereich, Dolashachan, a line of coalition, Youncy, Skanyala Shitterson, Statacher, Nicola Doherty. She had to absolutely get that right, Robin McCafferty, and she did, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Her timing and reading of the game there was excellent, but I was just going to finish off in saying that I think Rangers may feel a little bit aggrieved at the opportunity that they've had to score more goals in today's game.
Hormachke, Barak Uain, Washington of Chile Garisha, Rani Magariru Harris Anderson, the Tornainier. Rangers haast, Fjern te kunnen gerogen in de rest. Keir, ook al gaan de V1. Hoe zit er laaf? Zitten van Rangers gegeven elkaar aan. Ten je de Giesjach kijkt. Toch maar Hanneke Signier. En die bekend de Burles al afwikkelen de Spartans. En als je Jenna 5 ik gaan dan dat. Girasoli. Ik had hem in het uitlish. Kassenik Howard. Ze daar het Doherty. Juzie van Harish voor Ronald Douglas. Zie je wel een zeer beetje vast goed. Maar Hanneke van de laan wegkieter.
Let's go, Rangers!
O'Neill. McLaughlin. McCassanik. Fru. McLaughlin Rish. Tuls. Kanjellevigishin. Na mega tachert zeg. En ik heb voor de vast. Zilm gedaan. Ik kijk aan hou. Upper klutje van was het voor Richard McLaughlin. Really nice play for McLaughlin, but good interchange as well by the Rangers players.
Yeah, it was great combination play, really good understanding, and I have to say, you know, a bit gutted for Rachel McLaughlin there because she hits the strike well and it deserves a goal, but just seems like it's not meant to be in terms of numbers on the board for Rangers today.
At this point in the game, you probably imagine that Rangers have the advantage here, given that they are the professional side and Spartans are the part-time side, particularly given the way training's been so interrupted at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that, you know, probably that would have been a big challenge in terms of obviously Spartans' very good victory over Hibernian last weekend, but just the way that Rangers press the ball when they're out of possession, that intensity, it's definitely going to fatigue you as the game moves on, and I think it's something that Rangers have really upheld, even although there's been numerous substitutes come onto the pitch.
Hier is show. Ja, gewoon schoger. Let Ronald Douglas ik vast goed. Han ik nuas as ner. Oh, is verpikkend hoger regard te richten. Oh, wij forste nog is in stogen. Nach de hik, nu hoef ik toch maar hager. En jij mega kus. Jeffer Horster. Pulige ik gaan al. Doherty. Van de stad. Kan ik het vragen mag een live glielish. Ach, bal hier vallen worden. Kracht Neuval, Nicola. Kan ik het eerder magazijn. Anders in de game is Nicola Doherty gewoon. O'Neill geschilderd op McLaughlin. Als je het puchtiger uit en raast. Joe Siore, son il start gata, mach yn alai fi eich ffarefel. Brogan hi, y cymal, nes dolch yn oloi yn yr eich, gael iar i'r as corym y sio. Fa cor i'r bwrn ma Jim Nibiar, fa he, yn ddwrs yn drahan i'r as eichge. Ach dain y bwrn ma, fa i se, na che llars dain y bwrn ma'r son, nôr biach yn, ach, chan eich blwch yr yn harac y je. Pauline, I'm guessing it's going to be one of the players in blue since Rangers really have been in control most of the game. Who would you pick as your player of the game today?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few contenders, but, you know, I think for me, she might say that she's maybe not been clinical enough today in front of goal, but I think, you know, Kirsty Howitt's been instrumental in terms of her movement and the link-up play and Rangers attacking play today, and I also think that, you know, out of possession, she works effortlessly for the good of the team, so today's player of the match for me is Kirsty Howitt.
Howitt. We horen hier Tolgin Esker. Gaan Rangers. Ik vat de kleur geeft Jean. Schermen in fiet nummer 1. En dan hele bestaan ik leeg slie. Agus tegen dan assen daar nele. Zeg ik Shia goed. Het hart en jakken zich hij kook. Je zin is hier het leeg met eraan naar hart. Spartans. Maar hoors me klok Celtic en Jakens noors naar vallen van voor Farmington. Rangers le Hibs na Jakens en noors een Celtic association. Harrison Junior Hans gerlachig. Interesting next 2 games for Rangers, for Brogan and the rest of Pauline. They've got Hibs who are going to be slightly hurting, I would say, still the way things have gone this season, and then the big derby match against Celtic.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for me, I don't think Rangers will change their approach. I think they'll go with their strongest 11 in both next week's game and the following game, because they really, you know, there's still aspects of the game that you can see today that are still not quite clicking for them, whether that...
Corm shots up tall on the ish, Kerr tall, Gemel Haun, in the shacher of all, Immel the Vukkish, Burma, I see as a live Glees, a Yara Rasha, I guess Claire Gemel. Het zien eruit van in het park van je kasset, I guess of een je in daar naartoe ligt je deze, I guess in Herretol in Jesker, voor me maar hoort me. Kajari Garash, I guess Gemel hier te hoor genezen. Good composure shown by Claire Gemel there to come on to the ball and keep her shot under control and steer it past Harrison.
Yeah, definitely. And that's maybe we've not seen enough of, you know, from the Rangers players today in front of goal. But it's also a great pick out as well by Burma. Gemel a farach in Astor games get nach Dargiach for a fark. I think I see it. I think I saw Claire Gemel ask Nicky Doherty if she could be subbed there. I think she's having feeling the pace of the game having come on. You know this va me in the park. En nu geboren is het een versmaak. Sylvain, Lucy Doherty. Spartans toch een heel goede middel. Vlot ik in een jenuf, maar zo'n heeft. Vlot ik in een groege, je hebt pijn van de Sate Shaga show. En hij heeft zijn gedaan, Sam Kerridge in de Machlish. Dan kom ik gelach en hervie. Mag je hier een nieuw kutje? Rangers geharretjes en daar niet, ja. Gemel kan gelach tegen de walen. Judas Soli. Doherty kan jullie wipen. Burma. Eentje nog maar in die seizoen er weer op de konde. Ik al even geleden zo. Ik zeg, kloekje goals. Jalen is er tegen Burma kloekje hosser Doherty. Waar een keer. Ik ga hem vallen afgedaan. Er Spartans in de east. Bal er hier vallen af Tegan Reynolds is in. Zie je een richtelijk eruit. Zoek maar eens voor Sierra Cleland. Die was Maritanje aan de lijn gelden nu. Davinac, waar ik werken. Naar de Giesje. Als je Rangers wil, kan hem laten nu. Wel, ja, kan hem wel. Achteraan naar Big Brogan heen.
larger Gilorison. Triplet me in at the Rachel Harrison. Chigli Yoloch Gilor. It's Maculor, Tiggs Maculor, and Jelly Gratulation. Kusse putting easy in the Tuil. Acher in you, no chase toch. Ik ga gestuurpachie, Tuil who Lizzie Arnett get the Hechki. Hanachki Karsti. Balavakel Cass Arnett. O'Neill Gawolf Smach Gemaat, Skafluchile. Kleetje brook. Keine rash, Erish. Skast er uit die heen. Erishach, fall af. De dochter die Schach Kakas ga je bal noorsen. Claire Gemmel tot rash gewoor. Kolo in het huil, er stond in de hoekal. Lochlan agus he as he Asia he Yua. He come let all hast. Cormashog how it. Koeketol en daarna tol ja how it in Jeskers. Gaan jullie sem nu die shit kers maar wij kan jullie de kasach. Hoor die Maculora. Hij gesproken he. Tol lille groeg is in. She did get her second goal here, Kirsty Howard, Pauline. I'm not sure it's the best finish she'll have all season, but it counts.
It definitely wasn't the cleanest of contacts, but you know, she's in the right place at the right time and definitely deserving of it. But again, really good run and making an impact as young Brogan Hay, and I think that, you know, she's done extremely well since she came onto the pitch this afternoon.
Gierach, Lisje Vrip, maar hier in de game zullen we gewoon Kirsty Howard er een goede tol eindig voor die tank. Ja, Brogan Hay, er zijn schöne groeige gie, samen schöne groeige niet, maar ik doel. Koeken Johnny, Rangers, ik en jullie, Kirsty Howard, de Dahol, Zoe Ness, Arnett, de Tuil, Kujok, Rangers. Een keer maar verder is de Jan Howell game met de raad. Claire Gemmel is een net heel lille van. Ze vallen we nog tegen Akemse. Kohele huura. She wou de huura geta. Steeds Faravenki. Sir Rangers in jarstig mee in de park. Heb je toch geen van de Spartans gedaan? Gauw met genoeg vlaande weg. Gauw met de Impier Rangers zeg. Garoot te vinden mag van de goal. 3 kilo naar verres kilo ergens. Gaporing gaif. Kalle groege kjarstukje gaan in de park. Bij Havisnach bij de McCulloch Tolletje. Dan maar hager. Ach, gaharich met mij de prisje krieën warakle, maar een gloeg. De gloeg het er een neegke. Pauline, both coaches will be. You'd imagine, the winning coach is always happier than the losing coach, but neither will be. You know, you wouldn't say David McCulloch would be broken-hearted at how Spartans played it all today.
I don't think she'll be broken-hearted, but I think, you know, I thought they actually started the second half quite well, and I think probably for Debbie, you know, she probably doesn't see it as a 5-0 game. I think from a Rangers perspective, they'll be glad that they've managed to add more numbers on the board at the end there, given the result earlier at Glasgow City. So, you know, very different perspectives for both coaches, but definitely valuable lesson for teams that are not at the level of Glasgow City, Rangers and Celtic and have that added advantage of being full-time athletes. So how do they bridge the gap moving forward?
You made the point of goals. That does look like goals are going to be very important. City putting 7 on Force Farm today, Rangers getting the 5-3 just to sort of keep that advantage over City as well, and it is so close.
Yeah, it is very close, and I think, you know, if it had ended up maybe a 2 or 3-0 win to Rangers today, they probably would have felt a bit aggrieved, especially if, like you say, it does come down to that at the end of the season, because I felt they did have a lot of opportunities that were potentially wasted, whether that be from set plays and open play.
Carmen Keiltje, ach tuil gilor, ikke Jan Howell haas, koik tuil je Rangers. I guess Spartans fullink achke show nu. Nicky Doherty en misschien in de association kleertje in kroeg in de Carmen. Gaat nog door heen. Fusing het naar een harakic. Nakal, ach Farakin Haster was assige menu. Ach gloeit een Rangers goal in de gele. I guess dat Tollische gilor, I guess dat gilor. Ik zie hem kunnen in Prien Wissa gloeit er again inis Kirsty Howitzer the game she Hug Pauline McDonald. Kirsty, thank you very much for joining us here on BBC Alba after a 2-goal performance from yourself. It looked as if you were getting a bit frustrated before that second goal came in. You were definitely wanting to add to your tally. Kirsty, sorry, Kirsty, we're just having a few problems hearing at the moment. If you actually wish to Kirsty, I guess Chilishin Hiike Inish, I guess that's a Malky Thompson of Breen V. Kachishin at the Golini Acker Hill with the Bereiches, Hatalische Limerakushin, Europrige Machake, Achatirach, Talishin, McLeanchin, Buchan Corrick. Debbie McCulloch, Breen in the Cloichter in Ishit. I guess at Hamikrich Gilor in Breen at Hain Kuchuk. Polly, we'll try and go back to Kirsty if we can, but Rangers were certainly trying to impose their patterns of play on the game. The sort of was dead easy goal for Kirsty in the end, but it took them a while to actually break down Spartans' resistance.
Yeah, it definitely did. And like you say, it was kind of put on a plate there for Kirsty. But, you know, I think probably one of the things for Rangers was just, you know, the last game in the first round, they were really finding to feel the relationships building in key positions on the pitch. And I think that you know, that second lockdown has really affected them. Hence why I think, you know, across the next week and the following week, they're going to look to have their best players on the pitch because they want those relationships to be established.
Should the Zoines gag Rangers gag Gignoni Roshoch, I guess Haminoch is going to ring Rashko, Kirsty Howard Irish. Kirsty, thank you for bearing with us. We'll give this another go. You did manage to get your second goal eventually. It was one of those where I think Rangers, you looked as if you were well in control, but were a bit frustrated not to get more goals perhaps earlier in the game.
Yeah, you know, Spartans obviously played really well. They defended really well in pack, so it kind of made it difficult for us. But yeah, just in the end, glad to kind of stay composed and manage to beat them quite comfortably in the end. But yeah, we had a good few chances and would have liked to have been up more at half time. You're
in a team with loads of attacking options at the moment with Sam Kerkham from midfield, Lizzie and Zoe Ness. Have you all managed to build up your sort of working relationships again after the long time out of not being able to play, not being able to train together?
Yeah, you know, it's been really difficult over the second lockdown, but yeah, since coming back in, we've all worked really hard, and we worked really hard over lockdown as well. So it meant that when we came back in, we could just really focus on building the relationships and working on our tactical and technical aspect of the game, because you know we all worked really hard to come back in great shape. But yeah, there's great players all around me, and you know, I'm happy just to be scoring goals.
That you did, 2 of them today. Thank you very much, Kirsty.
Thank you.
Can all see that hard work beginning to come to fruition. Pauline, in the second half again, it took Rangers a wee while to get going. Spartans started the second half pretty well as well, but eventually the pressure told, and perhaps Rangers' greater fitness told as well, just in the sheer volume of chances they were creating.
Oh, definitely, and I think Spartans did start that second half well, but you know, I think when that blue wave continues to come at you, you know, it's difficult to kind of stay in the game for as long as you can. And I felt like, you know, Brogan Hayes' impact in the second half when she came on was really excellent, as was shown in her assist in that third goal.
Yeah, and both flanks were pretty important then as well. I mean, Dinah Burma did well down the left when she came on, setting this one up for Claire Gemmell. But I suppose at that point, when the game was getting stretched for Spartans, the space started opening up in behind them a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it's something that, you know, all teams that are not currently training full time will need to look at. How, you know, what are the things that they can put in place to help bridge the gap, because the physicality of Rangers, you know, at the end of the game was potentially far superior to that of Spartans.
There's a long way to go. Who would you say is in pole position for this title? Rangers will go back to the top of the table on goal difference at the moment, but it's all very tight.
You don't make it easy for me, do you? Thanks for that. I think it's extremely tight, and I think just now, I think Rangers have been together longer as a group, so it depends how quickly Glasgow City can build those new relationships.
Thank you very much, Pauline. Kiet Miletain Garish, Pauline Nikonsen Vikonrin. Nu yn ei hiachgyn, bysyn le Glasgow City yn ei tober na mahar as yn SWPL ceirwyr yn fisgar na sabyn sy tîn agos City fiach yn nimpi a chamel Rangers eist bi Iadson Rangers y clwy Hibs agos bysyn orsyn le Celtics Rangers yn hiachgyn y seisyn. Bwyn i'r sio, la malin.